Here on the Check a Pro radio show, I love to protect my listeners and my viewers. And that can mean anything around your home because you got to watch out for contractors. That's why I started Check a Pro years ago, to make sure that you, the homeowner, were taken care of. And we check insurance and licenses and references on the people who come into your home. I've asked an expert in the home services cleaning business to join me here. He's a good friend of mine as well, Jim McDonough. How are you?
I'm phenomenal. Thanks for having me again, Jim.
It's great to have you here. Veterans Cleaning Solutions. Love what you guys do. In the past, we've talked about your why and why you do what you do for your team members, for yourself, and of course, for the homeowner. And today, this question I want to ask you is one that's near and dear to my heart because it's why I do what I do to help the homeowner stay protected from unscrupulous contractors. And so this kind of touches upon that in a way. And the question is how do clients hurt themselves when hiring a contractor?
Very good. And so this is one of my favorite questions because we are a consumer protection based organization. It's one of the reasons why we built the business was really to have the best interest of the customer in mind. But there are some things that the customer might do that we've learned from other industries that really hurt themselves or hurt the relationship that they're trying to establish. One is the customer really needs to understand, is this going to be transactional or is this going to be a transformational relationship? And those really have the basis for, is this going to be a long-term relationship that we're building with this organization, or is this kind of a one-off, once and done? And so what we're looking at here is we put a paper together called the 8 must-ask questions before hiring a contractor. And that's right on the very top of our website. There's 8 questions that help organize the customer's thought process so they can get a kind of a scope of work together. So then we can come along and put together a statement of work in the form of a measured, written, no cost, no obligation estimate at a time that's convenient for the customer. That 8 must-ask questions before hiring a contractor is all based off of a little tiny rack card that comes from the Better Business Bureau. Now, the Better Business Bureau has got some great things in their course, and they are also an advocate for the homeowner and when we're bringing other contractors and things into our homes. But one of the things that that I really want to point out here is that the one thing that we experience so much, and this is an area where if we could only solve one thing, one is this one right here is the over the phone quote. This one right here is where the client really does themselves a massive disservice. If price is the only concern, this is a transactional relationship. And so that's not a bad thing, by the way, because sometimes we just need a cleaning if we're tenants and we're moving out and we got to do some things because we're under contract. You've just sold the home. We're getting it clean before we hand over the home to the new homeowner at the day of closing or right before the day of closing. These are normal things that happen. But what we really want to make sure is who we're inviting into our home. And so when we do that and we ask for the over the phone quote, what ends up happening is it's a lose-lose for the client. All right. There's very few wins that happen here because, and this is why. How many times have you gone or called the doctor and said, hey, doctor, I've got a thing going on here. Can I get the pills for this? Okay. A doctor who does a prescription, who prescribes medication without a consultation or a diagnosis, what do we call that?
Malpractice.
That's malpractice. That's right. And so what we're looking at here is, thank you for playing, by the way. And so really what that is here is you got someone on the other end of the phone who has no idea about the condition, the soiling level, the dynamics of that carpet. And they're going to give you one of two prices. And that's truly it. It's a price. If price is your only concern here, this is what you're getting. I'm either going to get the lowest price, which leads to bait and switch because in their mind, they're thinking of a certain soiling situation. It may be completely different. And when they get there on site, you could have a pretty rough service experience because I've just read the reviews in our own area and I've read online where service providers, carpet cleaners, roof and exterior cleaners, whatever, will just walk out, not say a word. They're like, there's no way. And they just leave. To avoid the confrontation that goes along with it, it becomes a very rude and not a good experience. Others will, on the other side, give you such a high number, but they may be the most valued. That high number is relative to your internal price point. So if you haven't done your due diligence and you haven't gone through the 10 things that you really need to go through, to looking at what is the reputation of the individual, what's their level of education, where's the education at? Is it at the truck technician level, or is the education residing in the owner back in the office? You need it at the truck level. Is it going to be in the experience at the technician at the truck level doing the work? Or again, is it residing in some place in some other office that's not on your project? Is it going to be in the systems that are used? Are we following a checklist? Do we have written systems, or are we making it up as we go? So all these things lead up to what's really going to hit the home at the last one here is what's the warranties and guarantees? So that's what we're really looking at here with this. How does the client hurt themselves? They don't do enough due diligence. They don't do enough research. They don't interview properly to bring people into their home. And when we bring contractors into our home, we're bringing them into our inner sanctuary, which is where our family, our future, and our fortune lies. So we got to be real careful there. That ask over the phone question is either going to get you the lowest price provider, going to give you the lowest quality of work. The highest price person may be the best value. You just don't know because we haven't done the due diligence. And so the Better Business Bureau is a great place to get some background, look at their website, do your due diligence. And that's why we put out on our website the 8 must-ask questions before hiring a contractor. So you know, when you call on us, who's coming into your home.
I love it, Jim. People need to buy on value. They're going to buy, and they should be buying people they know, like, and trust. And it's important as a homeowner that you do a little research. So instead of calling saying, hey, I want to have my house clean, what does it cost? That's what we've been talking about here. It's, hey, this is Mr. Smith. I'm interested in having my home clean. May I ask you a few questions before we go on further? How long have you been in business? What organizations are you part of? Do you have insurance? Because I'd really like you to have insurance if you're coming into my home.
Yep.
Can I get a list of references? And if you're going to interview someone to work in your company, if you're a business owner, you should do the same type of thing. But of course, it's a much quicker process for anyone who comes into your home to do work. And you shouldn't be afraid to pay them a little bit more money than the person or company that doesn't have the credentials you deserve as a homeowner.
Boy, that is spot on, right on there. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. Pretty good.
Jim, as always. Thank you.
One last thing here.
Yeah, sure.
Asking about all those things that you just walked down there. One thing that you haven't mentioned is criminal background checks.
Mm-hmm.
So we also have Ask the Seal, which validates our insurance requirements, our criminal background checks, and our business license. And we lead with that. So all of that is out of the way so we can focus on what the project is that you need done. And so when you're dealing with contractors, those nightmare contractors, sometimes you got to look at the history of the contractor that is standing in front of you. They may not be employable, but they can own their own business.
I totally agree. That's actually a great topic for another podcast.
It is.
Jim McDonough, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time today.
Glad to be here. Thank you, sir.